U.S. CEO Donald Trump card has deferred building orator Nancy Pelosi's forthcoming travel to Brussels and Afghanistan, request her to remain to conduct negotiations and end to the fractional U.S. by the government shut. The CEO was capable to stop the travel by denial the use of warplane to Mrs. Pelosi and a deputation. On environment, Mrs. Pelosi had forced Mr. Trump card to delay his country of the association address, among policy impasse. Mr. Trump card's go came on the 27th day of the U.S.'s longest ever Fed shut. The Republic CEO wants £, of congressional financing to construct a side on the U.S.-Mexico boundary, but Democrats include rejected. Mr. Trump card's cancel of the travel founded less than rather than an time up. The more Democratic orator of the Building of Representatives was planned to keep on Thursday afternoon, U.S. print tell. White's Building Click Secretariat Sarah Sanders share the CEO's email in a chirp. I as well sense how, for the time, it would be superior if you were in Washington negotiations in me and connecting the powerful boundary safety motion to end the shut, Mr. Trump card wrote. The CEO added how Mrs. Pelosi could begin in the travel, that he outlined as a social relations occasion, with a business airline company. After on Thursday the White's Building announced it would not email a U.S. deputation to the Planet Economical Message Board in Davos, Switzerland after the monthly, above the shut of review for the 800,000 large U.S. workers not reception pay and to provide his crew can help as necessary, CEO Trump card has broken his deputation's travel to the Planet Economical Message Board in Davos, Switzerland, Mrs. Sanders told in a declaration. Mr. Trump card had previously told he would not visit, and on Tuesday announced a scale-back deputation, that was to be led by Exchequer Secretariat Stephen Mnuchin. Drew Hamill, Mrs. Pelosi's vice head of personnel, told her journey to Afghanistan had require a halt in Brussels to enable flying to otherwise, as so as to encounter top NATO officers to confirm the joint state battleship obligation to the association. Mr. Hamill told the plans did not involve a trip to Egypt, and marked how Mr. Trump card and Republicans include passing for a shut. The goal of the travel was to courier gratitude and thanks to our men and female in form for their facility and devotion, and to receive crucial domestic safety and intellect briefings of such on the frontline channel. 3/4, Mrs. Pelosi's journey had not been announced up Mr. Trump card's email. Several commentators pronounced terror how the CEO would show plans on a travel to a war area by a congressman who is tertiary in link to the chairmanship. The shut-playing chess matchstick among Donald Trump card and Nancy Pelosi has rotated in a play of drafts. The building orator threatens to get off his country of the association address. The CEO erases her congressional travel to Afghanistan. Leap jump jump. Yours go. The White's Building had, according to reports, been trapped plane-footed by Ms. Pelosi's country of the association ad on environment and was inquiring for ways to bypass the orator's endangered checkpoint. Down there's yet no evident decision for them, but how hasn't stored the CEO of shooting behind. How the US social perceives the titmouse for tat is an outdoor issue. At low so distant, the CEO appears to be shouldering the love stake of the accused for the by the government shut. At several spot, yet, the government dysfunction could pull everyone downward. Meantime, 800,000 Fed employees go on to job, or sit at household, out of pay in. By the government website's collapse, services mill to a stop and the economical duty begins to install. There has been a null-sum fight wherever the expenses of ongoing to struggle are matched just by the policy cost to be paid if a party backs downward. Building most lead Steny Hoyer said reporters Mr. Trump card's activity demeans the chairmanship. Time Republic Sen Lindsey Graham named Mrs. Pelosi's risk to revoke the country of the association address reckless and Mr. Trump card's answer as well inadequate. One superficial answer does not merit else. Orator Pelosi's risk to revoke the country of the association is really reckless and patently policy. CEO Trump card denial. Orator Pelosi war journey to trip our military in Afghanistan, our allies in Egypt and NATO is as well inadequate. A White's building assistant said U.S. print how the travel would include guarantee how Fed workers would miss their other salary since Mistress Pelosi would not include been there to conduct negotiations any type of transactions. Yet, Mr. Trump card has not prohibited Mrs. Pelosi of departure, fare of with warplane. After on Thursday, Melania Trump card utilized a war aircraft to fly to the household's individual refuge in Florida front of the length feast weekend, U.S. print informed. Fox News story as well accountable how members of convention who were due to exceed the travel were leftward meeting on a U.S. air strength bus at Capitol Mound as personnel at the Capitol, Country, Pentagon and White's building scrambled to knob the position. In her own email to Mr. Trump card on environment, Mrs. Pelosi named on him to redesign his yearly address to convention with this emergency demands introduced by the occasion could not be met for the shut. Mr. Trump card has not yet immediately answered to the query to go his speaking, but in an electronic mail to campaigning supporters, he told he was disinvited of his address to the us human beings. Over on Thursday, Ms. Pelosi said reporters how the Democrats did not wish safety commanders work outstanding. Perhaps he thinks it's okay not to pay human beings who job, Ms. Pelosi told. I don't. Democrats in the building gun else draft to de-open components of the by the government, but love history attempts, it is anticipated to failure in the Republic-led Senate. The new palliative draft proposes to de-open the by the government via February 28. Senate most lead Mitch McConnell has rejected to get up any law how does not include the SEO's adoption, and has charged Democrats of ruinous period.